Bom dia YouTube. Today I am leaving Cabril and I'm heading south to the Douro Valley with 2 stops on the road. Would you like to come along? Let's hit the road. Okay, so before I leave, I just want to say, if you're ever in the area, Gerês National Park in the north of Portugal, in Cabril, this place behind me is the perfect stay. It's like 82 euros a night for a double room, which is really large and modern and lovely. The breakfast is amazing, and Carla, the owner, will probably tear out a limb to make you feel good there. Also, you can make friends with this girl. She's a bit shy at first, but she will warm up after a little while. I will put the address and the link down in the description, and no, I'm not getting anything for this. I just really love the place and I'd like to recommend it. I knew it was a good idea to avoid the toll roads on this trip. I rather climb those mountain roads up and down. You get such nicer views taking these ones. That's right, on this trip I have a golden rule: no toll roads. In Portugal, many of the major highways come with a toll, and when I picked up the car, the rental agent even told me it would be almost impossible to avoid them. That actually made me even more ambitious about sticking to the plan. Because avoiding toll roads also means avoiding just dashing through the landscape. Instead, I get to take the slower routes, see the scenery, and really experience the country. And so far, this rule has really paid off. Okay, I just saw this little road going away from the main road, leading towards a dam. So I had to check it out and yeah, check this out. Now there is something hypnotic about just following the road. The rhythm of the curves, the changing light, the villages flashing by. It's these stretches that remind me a road trip isn't just about the stops, but about the in-between moments too. And I am not in a rush here. The whole point is to let the road set the pace. Winding up hills, rolling through valleys, slowing down when a tractor pulls out or when the view is just too good to pass. It's a different way of traveling and I love it. Okay, we arrived at the first stop and it's a charging station. Well, the electric car that I got needs some additional power, so we're gonna spend a little bit of time here. It's a fast charger, so it won't be too long. We're in a town called Basto, and this is the first time I'm actually sure I did not butcher that name. It's just B-A-S-T-O, Basto. Let's see what else is here. Okay, so we're at an industrial park, so car dealership, check. Filling station, check. Car wash, check. Let's see what the car dealership has on offer. Well, just your usual assortment of used cars, really. But on the other side of the road, there's a vineyard. And it's almost harvest season, so they are getting ready. It's nice when you leave some pretty busy and noisy into an out-of-town road, and right away you're in a calm, quiet residential area with lots of nature and some agriculture going on, and you're immediately in a different place. It's cool. Okay, we are back on the road. The car is almost fully charged. It's at 87%, more than enough to get us through this day and part of tomorrow. And our next destination is the old traditional town of Vila Real. So, but we're gonna be driving for about an hour 20 until we get there. So, time for more lovely road shots. As I drive along these small country roads, it strikes me how little traffic there is. It seems most local prefer the major highways to get from A to B. And I can't help but wonder, does living in such a stunning landscape eventually turn you blind to its beauty? Or maybe it's just that the reasons are more practical, and they simply don't have the time that I do. As I leave Basto behind, the road carries me through a landscape that feels timeless. Rolling hills, patched with farmland, small villages clinging to the slopes, and rivers carving their way through the valleys. It's quiet here. The car almost glides, and the silence makes the scenery feel even more present. Driving these country roads, you get the sense that every turn hides another story. Every stone wall has been here for centuries. And all of this is leading me toward Vila Real, a city whose history is as deeply rooted in this land as the fields themselves. I arrived in Vila Real. I hooked the car up to a charger. It didn't need that, but you know, it's a lovely way to find parking in a city and put some electricity in your car at the same time. So now I'm going to go down to Vila Real's old town. I'm not sure if there is a lot there, But we will see. This is just a stop on the road, really. So I didn't want to drive the whole way to the Douro Valley, well, in one go, but that is my final destination. I want to get there. So let's see what Vila Real is like. The town of Vila Real was founded in the 13th century, and eventually, because it's set on the intersection of two very important trading routes, it became a preferred home for many noble families, which you can see in a lot of the architecture here. Like the buildings are, many of the buildings are quite majestic, even though not all of them are in really good shape. But you can still see the vibes and the ghosts of the past, really. Vila Real literally translates to royal village, and that's what it really is. Like the city center, the old town is really small, but the buildings look very important. Now, all of Vila Real is larger. There are more modern, like suburbs around here. The old town itself is really little. But don't get me wrong, today Vila Real might just be a pretty normal, small Portuguese town. And in terms of beauty, it still beats 99% of all normal, small German towns. Okay, I am heading back to the car while a noisy bus passes me, and we will hit the road for the final stretch. Back in the car, back on the road, back on track to my last destination for tonight, the Douro Valley, right where one of the apparently most scenic roads of all of Portugal, of all of Europe begins, but that is for the next video. But tonight we're gonna explore the town I'm going to a bit more. There's a bit to say about the town. See you in a bit. Leaving Vila Real behind, the landscape begins to change. The farmland gives way to terraced slopes patterned with endless lines of vines. The further I drive, the more the valley opens up each curve in the road revealing another hillside shaped by generations of work. It feels like entering a living tapestry, where nature and human hands have woven something unique together. This is the Douro, and every view along the way hints at the stories that have made this region world famous. You're thinking, wow, that's a lot of wine growing here. Yep, you're absolutely right. And we'll get back to that when I arrive at my destination. Here in the Douro Valley, wine has been grown for nearly 2,000 years. The Romans were the first to carve terraces into these hillsides, and ever since, each generation has added to the landscape. Over centuries, the valley has become one of the great cradles of winemaking in Europe, a place where the land and its people are inseparable from the vines. Driving through it, you don't just see vineyards. You see history unfolding across the slopes. And I have arrived in Peso da Régua, right on the Douro River, and we will check out the town in a little bit, but first, room tour. Really cute bedroom. The view from the window is actually just kind of straight to the hallway. There's the street out there, and it goes further up there. There might be something like the roof terrace or something like that. We'll check that out. There's a living room section. Let me show you. With a little TV. I have my own little kitchen. Yeah, to be honest, all I'm gonna need from all this is that coffee maker there. But I'm glad to have it. I like to have a coffee in the morning before I head out. I gotta say, this is really decent, and it comes at a price tag of 79 euros, which is even less than I paid for that super sweet hotel the last 2 nights. Okay, I'm just gonna do some stuff, get some little rest, and then we will head out. I'm ready for a walk. Are you? Fine, let's go. Now first I want to see what's up there. Another apartment room, and further up, there are 2 more rooms there, and a very nice roof terrace lounge area. This would be a nice spot to fade out the day with a glass of wine. But we're heading into town. Hey. We're on the road and we're taking the first left, and that leads us straight to the mighty Douro River. So I gotta confess, if you watched my Porto videos, you might remember I said that port wine is made in Gaia and only shipped from Porto, but that was bullshit. Well, it wasn't the whole truth. Port wine is actually grown right here where we are, in the Douro Valley region, and this town, Peso da Régua, or just Régua for short, is the capital of port wine grape growing. So all those vineyards you saw on the way here, that's where the port wine grows. And then it gets shipped to Gaia, where it is stored and for maturing. And when the product is ready, it gets shipped from Porto. So that's the whole circle. Douro river cruises must be damn popular. These boats are huge. Another thing I've learned is that the Douro region is actually the oldest protected vine growing region in the world, starting from 1756. They had the system that only wine that was grown here and was produced here and produced in a certain way was allowed to be called Douro wine. You know, it's pretty much the system that now every vine growing country has adopted. So these days, wine-growing countries like France have a similar system, like appellation d'origine contrôlée. But the French only started that in the 1930s, so much, much later than the Douro region. And the Italian system is even younger than the French. But we will see more of the Douro River in my next video, much more. So let's head to town for now. And of course Régua has a cute church. Of course. Peso da Régua is more than just another riverside town. For centuries, this was the gathering point for the Douro's wines, the place where barrels arrived from the hills and were loaded onto boats bound for Porto and Gaia. Régua became the link between the valley and the world beyond, the hub that made it possible for the wines of the Douro to travel far from these slopes. Walking through its streets today, you can still sense that history in the air. A town shaped by its role as the gateway of the valley. Régua is an important town. port wine capital of the world. However, it's also a small town, 15,000 people, so walking around for an hour, you have pretty much seen the whole old town, which is nice. I'm not really here for sightseeing or anything like that, but it's more for the vibes, and the vibes in this town are really sweet. Also, I have found a recommendation for a apparently very good restaurant, which is where I'm heading to now. Well, the restaurant that was recommended to me was fully booked, so I went out and I found another one right opposite of my apartment, which was super nice. It was called Restaurante Nacional. I had a very hearty, traditional Portuguese dinner. I will drop a picture. And final thoughts before I wrap this up on this town, on Peso da Régua. This town is small and it's not about checking off sites. This town is about slowing down, about tasting the valley and letting the Douro flow through everyday life. This town is pure vibes. I loved it. And with this, I'm wrapping up. I will see you hopefully for my next video, which is all about the Douro Valley and hopefully some breathtaking sights. I hope you'll come along. I hope you stay safe until then. Have a great day and take care. Good night.